What's going on, everybody? Chris Haskins with the realestateroundup.com. We are here with another flip tip. Actually, this is a day in the life of a real estate investor. I love hanging out with people that have more experience than me, that have been in the business longer than me, and have more money and capital than me too. So I'm hanging out with one of the area's premier hard money lenders. Yep, we're right here, Mike Krumbein. What's up, buddy?
Well, we're going to look at one of Chris's deals, and I always love working with Chris. He's always got a good deal. He takes something that's in horrible shape or got a problem to it, and he fixes it. So, and that's how he makes his money, and it works. It works for him, and it works for us. He keeps us protected, and we've had a good working relationship. So that's perfect. So I'm happy to do just about any deal he wants to do.
Thank you, Mike. I had to write a check for that one later. Well, we were talking, Mike. He's always, guys are walking, people look at me like I'm an expert, but I defer to the experts, But Mike was telling me I just had a deal fall apart, and Mike, I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
The buyer, you want to cover that lease thing again?
Well, you told me the deal was contingent upon the buyer said he had to lease his house.
Yeah.
And it fell through over that, and probably some other things as well. But yeah. I said you should take control of that situation and tell the person, figure out what kind of rent he wanted. Let's say he wanted $1,000 a month, and just tell him, yeah, I'll rent your house, and maybe you quote, I'll rent it for $950. I'm gonna sign a lease with you right now, rent it for $950. So you've taken control of that and solved the problem.
Of him getting out of his house. Yeah,
of him getting out, because you've leased it from him.
You're going to start paying rent.
You're going to pay the rent on it, right? Okay. Every month. It becomes your problem to rent it. Gotcha. So you have to know the rental market in his neighborhood. Yeah. And you probably rent it for $1,100. Who knows? Maybe make a little profit on it. But let's say you can't even make a profit. Let's say you have to rent it for $900, lose $500 a month, which is $600 for a year. Yeah. Big deal, because you're going to make it up on your sale.
Yes.
And you might even tell him, I got to build a little extra into my sale, whatever. But you've taken away his problem.
Gotcha.
You've taken on and
contingent.
And yeah, and you've got control of it as opposed to him trying to lease it or whatever.
Yes.
And you can do something similar. A lot of times you can buy people's houses where they say, well, I got to sell my house before I move in. Well, find out a way for you to buy it.
To buy their house?
Yeah, buy it. And maybe you find another investor that wants to partner with you on that house and turn it into a rental, or he wants to knock it down, or who knows, whatever.
Wow.
Just solve their problem and try to make a profit.
Solve the problem. Gotcha. Well, my next question was, Mark. My next question, Mike, was the buyers. I usually do a 10 by 12 deck on my houses. What do you do about a 10? Is that about average deck?
That's probably about average.
These guys wanted an 18 by 14.
Okay.
And we agreed to raise the price $1,500.
Okay. Covers your cost of enlarging it?
Yep.
Okay.
So we raised the purchase price $1,500. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I built the deck. Cost me another, I don't remember how much, but I paid for the deck, and the deck's in, and they still backed out of the deal. The buyer that I had 3 days before closing, they backed out. How would you handle it?
I'm surprised you didn't get that $1,500 as a non-refundable, fee for doing that improvement.
Okay, so that's what you're going to recommend.
That's what I would have done. Yeah, so I'll do anything you want as long as you pay me to do it, and I get some kind of money up front to make sure that I'm covered in case you don't perform.
So that's how you handle any, say if the buyer wants a fence, or if they want gutters, or I don't know, if you want anything, new handrails or something.
Yeah.
How do you handle that stuff? How do you handle when a buyer wants something?
That's how I handle it. I make sure they put some money up, if not the whole thing, part of it, so that I'm not out the whole money. I'm not taking that risk. I do have a benefit of a better deck. Will that make the house sell a little more? Probably not. Yeah. It's not going to make a bit of difference on the next buyer. He's going to say, oh, I should pay you $1,500 more because this deck looks big. It's not going to happen. So, somebody's got a contingent contract, a way to back out. They need to put their money where their mouth is.
Huh.
And probably if they wouldn't have done it, and which kind of indicates they were waffling anyway, and which is what happened. You know, they backed out on you.
Huh. Well, I wanted to make them happy, Mike. I wanted to,
yeah.
you know,
or you might have said, hey, I'll escrow $1,500 and put it and do the deck after the closing because you may back out. And that's very reasonable. So now you have to, after the closing, perform and do the deck, or they get that extra $1,500 and they can hire somebody to enlarge that deck.
I see what you're saying. So for our viewers that don't kind of understand what escrow means, Mike, what do you mean by that?
Well, at the closing, their agent or their closing attorney holds $1,500 that you give to the attorney at closing, and they hold it until you put that deck on.
Gotcha.
And then you get that $1,500 back for putting the deck on. If you don't put the deck on, that $1,500 goes to the buyer.
Okay.
So you know, they're assured that that money is they're going to either get that money or they're going to get the deck.
Gotcha. Now, what about my appraisal, Mike? I still was concerned with the appraisal coming in without the deck. Is that going to hurt me on the value of the appraisal?
No, I don't think a $1,500.
Because the house will have no deck. I'm not going to build half, you know, a 10 by 12, then add on to it.
Oh, well, you can get an appraisal based upon a deck being built. You just have to inform the appraiser that there will be a deck here and appraise it as if there is a deck.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the appraisers always do that. They'll do that. I mean, I get appraisals where they, shoot, you know, an addition's going to be added on the back. And
they'll subject to appraisal.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Subject to.
Just for people that don't live here in the Tidewater area, I'm going to pause because we're going through the tunnel and can't see us.
Yeah, kind of hard, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. So we're here coming. If you don't live in Hampton Roads, I'm just going to give you a quick view. This is what it looks like out here. We're on the bridge tunnel here, and it's a lot of fog, kind of unusual, but just give you a little idea of how we're living out here in Tidewater. So Mike was just dropping some knowledge on people that want to add additions to the property before closing, and we're going to escrow all that money. And if they're not, my question is, Mike, if they're not willing to do it, do we walk away from the contract? If they're not willing to put up or not, and this is all non-refundable.
Well, you're actually in this case, you know, you were going to put up the money, and then you're going to get it back once you've done it. So you're not going to be out any money, and they're not going to be out any money. So why wouldn't they go ahead and sign the contract and go and close?
I got you.
So that becomes a non-issue. You've taken away that as a possible issue. And those people, based on what you told me previously about them, they were waffling. They were looking for a way to back out for whatever reason, we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, when they start acting squirrely like that, it's a sign that they're probably not really as interested as you thought they were.
Yeah. You know what's weird? The realtor told me when they put the offer in on my property that they had just withdrawn an offer from another house. That should have been a red flag.
I'd say so. You might have, yeah, that's a pretty good red flag. Yep.
But I was blinded by the offer.
Yeah, well, you know, you hear what you want to hear. You got a sale. You want to get that money in the pocket, and you think positive, and
there you go.
You know,
it happens.
So Chris wants to. Do I keep going straight?
Straight on out. Yeah.
Chris wants to know about a mistake I made, because I lend money to fixer-uppers and flippers, and contrary to popular belief, I do make mistakes, and so I had a mistake in Portsmouth. I lent too much money on it, and then I had to repossess the house. And so Chris asked me, I have it sold now. He said, well, so you got a price you're happy with? I said, well, not really. I mean, I'm losing money because I made the mistake. But once I make a mistake, the mistake has already happened. The loss is there whether I've taken it or not. So I need to move on and make money on something, another project where I'm going to make money.
Wow.
So, you know, it's not a perfect world.
We're going to exit 9.
All right.
if you saw any of my videos, can I share with them? That was yours?
Yeah.
If you've seen any of my day in the life of the real estate investor videos, go back down volume 2, 3, and 4. That was Mike's house that we're turning around. And what was the mistake, Mike? I mean, you obviously made a bunch of them over your time.
Yeah.
What is it? One here, or is it a cumulative amount of mistakes on this one house?
Wow. My mistake was
The first one, I guess.
the first mistake was this was actually being done by a rehabber I had experience with, a real good experience.
Yeah, it's like,
And it was another deal, and I got probably a little overconfident, and I lent a little too much money because that's what the rehabber wanted. And it was an older house, and those are always tricky.
oh man.
And
Yes, they are.
so she hired a bad contractor. She was trying out a new contractor. He did a horrible job. She actually went into the hospital in a coma.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to take the project back. You know, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And probably she would have worked her way out of the problem had she not gone to the hospital. And she probably would have made little to no money or lost little money to keep our relationship going.
Yeah.
And so what it comes down to is, you know, I had to step in, and I'm the one that had to lose the money.
Gotcha.
And, you know, it's not a perfect world. It just happens. But I like to just own up to my mistakes. The losses happened on paper. You might as well just get it over with. And
Fast.
for me, just, get over with fast and put that money out where I'm going to make some money on a better deal. And hopefully learn from that mistake.
Nice.
And I'd say I have learned.
I think I've seen you learning. I've seen you learning, my brother.
Yeah.
And you know what's weird, Mike, is you've been in the business for how long?
Since 2000. So I've been around.
Been around.
And you would have thought I wouldn't have overlent on this older property, but
Things happen.
yeah, I got excited about doing another couple of deals with this woman. She'd had a great track record. And
Okay.
so I said, I'll take a little higher risk, and happened to be a situation where, you know, came back to bite me.
Gotcha.